Hey everybody, this is Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies. We're the only show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. Now before I get started, I'd like to ask everyone if you just go down, scroll down a little bit, it won't take that long, and just hit the subscribe button and then smash that like button if you like this video, that is. If you dislike it, then smash the dislike button too. I don't care. Just do something. So today I'm here to finish up 2018 movies that I've seen. Again, I didn't see like all 2018 movies. There were a couple that I just wasn't interested in, such as Into the Spider-Verse, 8th Grade, and then there's that skateboard one with the Jonah Hill directed. I just wasn't interested. And I didn't want to waste any more time. I just wanted to get this out there as quickly as possible. So, I wanted to quickly go over the order of the movies that are in the middle. So the 10th worst was Creed 2, right? Well, after that is Billionaire Boys Club. Now, Billionaire Boys Club, it was good. It was actually good. And I'm not going to judge it just because Kevin Spacey's in it. He was actually the best part of the movie. I thought the movie was a great idea, but it fell flat on its face like Sorry to Bother You. But at least it wasn't bad. It was okay. And then after that, Infinity War, that had some really great moments, but then everything else was terrible. And then after that, My Friend Dahmer, I thought this movie was creepy, but it was kind of boring. I'll never watch it again, but I appreciate it for bringing up information that is pertinent to the case that most people probably don't know about. Next, I have Black Panther. I don't like a lot of stuff in this movie, but I love a lot of stuff in it, so it's just in the middle. Next is You Were Never Really Here. I love the directing in this movie. I love the acting, but overall, it was kind of a flop. I thought it was probably the fault of the trailer. The trailer made it look like it was going to be a badass action movie, and it was really like a hardcore drama. Next, Teen Titans Go to the Movies. This is such a kids movie, but it's funny in some parts, and it's got one really cool sequence, so it's right there. Next up is Halloween. Again, I'm gonna do a big video on this movie, just destroying it, because in terms of a Halloween movie and the Halloween franchise, and in terms of being a horror movie, it's one of the worst ones, and in fact, it is the worst Halloween movie. But in terms of just being a regular movie, I actually kind of liked it. So it's right there. It didn't make it to the top 10, but it's almost. Number 12 is Puppet Master: The Littlest Reich. This movie has some serious agenda problems in it, and but I felt like if I would talk about them, it would kind of make me sound like I'm saying wrong things. But it's very amateur. It's poorly written, and but there are a lot of cool things in it, especially one kill where there's a pregnant woman and this puppet goes inside of her, kills her baby, and then comes out and kills her too. That was cool. And it's only $1, so how can you fault, even if it's like the most agenda movie in the world, how can you fault it for just being $1? It's great. And I think it was a great idea to steer away from the stupid World War II stuff, but still, I feel like they're not taking the right direction with the Puppet Master series. And then at number 11, almost making it, is Deadpool 2. This movie was kind of a failure. In fact, I'd love to just put it in the top 10 worst, but I can't because it made me laugh a lot in some points. And I loved the effects, and I loved like the last 20 minutes. But there are some huge issues. I'd love to do a longer review just talking about how much that kid annoys me. and you can't really fault the kid, but just it's so annoying. So finally, my top 10 best movies of 2018. Number 10, talk about agendas. We have Vice. When Vice first came out, I was very angry at it because a lot of the movie contains news footage. A lot of it contains agenda points talking about, oh, we did this with the emails, and remember Hillary's emails, like tons of just straight up calls to the audience to see, oh, look at all this hypocrisy, look at this, look at this. But at its core, the stuff that actually was shot was really good. I just watched it again recently, and I loved every minute of it. I loved Christian Bale. I loved Amy Adams. I loved it. There are some issues though, like Steve Carell. He's just a cartoon. George W. Bush's cartoon. Again, you can tell this movie is an agenda movie, which is unfortunate because it could have just been a straight up biopic, and I would have given it like a 10 out of 10. I would have put it at number one probably, but it too much agenda stuff. I hated the editing. I hated the music too. The music was ugh. I hated the music. Number 9 is Game Night. This was just a fun comedy, and I like it a lot because it's not like a lot of other comedies nowadays. It's actually pretty good. The best part of this movie, number 1, Rachel McAdams, but number 2, Jesse Plemons. He was so fantastic in this movie. It made me just want to watch a movie with Jesse Plemons starring and doing his own thing because he was so incredible in this movie, the way he delivered lines. The best parts of the movie are the ones with him. Number 8, I have, oh yeah, and then also there was this really dumb blonde guy and then this British girl. They were also the high points of the movie. They were actually a more interesting couple than the main couple because they had such a different dynamic where you have two opposites. I love that kind of stuff. Number 8, we have Ready Player One. I thought this movie is a fun popcorn movie with a lot of problems. It plays a lot on nostalgia, but I love how the villain is like this clueless old guy who, he tries to he pretends to identify with the younger generation, tries to, make references to movies, and I love that part of it. I love the main character, kind of. I thought he's a little boring. I loved Olivia Cooke, obviously. She's in another movie later on the list. But overall, not very rewatchable to me. It was great the first time around, but then the second time it was kind of boring. The music is kind of irritating, even though it's great listening once, but I don't know. It's a movie you see in theaters once and then kind of forget about it. Number 7, we have Mowgli. Mowgli is not my favorite adaptation of the Jungle Book. Still my favorite is the cartoon. But what I loved about this movie was Mowgli himself. This is the best Mowgli we've gotten out of the live actions, out of the original, out of everything. He's the best one. And then Christian Bale and then Andy Serkis, they deliver incredible performances. I love the looks of the animals. I thought it's really funny. People complained about the animation with this, with the animals emoting, but then you have this new Lion King movie where the animals look really realistic, and everyone's complaining about that too. So I really think that people need to take another look at this movie. It's extremely dark, and that's why I put it higher. It was originally at like number 4, but it's just too sad, too dark, too depressing. And then the big fight scene is a letdown. There's hardly any battle, which I thought Jon Favreau's movie, even though I don't like it for the singing and everything else, I love the battle scenes, and that's what this movie's really missing. It has a lot of suspense, it has a lot of heartbreak, but there's never any really big battle to pay everything off. I would have loved to seen Mowgli do more than just call a bunch of elephants to help him. Spoiler alert. Number 6, I have Mission Impossible Fallout. I actually haven't seen Mission Impossible 2, 4, or 5, but I did see this one because it has Henry Cavill in it and because it looked really good, and wow, this movie was a surprise. It was thrilling the whole way through. It had great action sequences, and also it had a fantastic soundtrack. The soundtrack for this movie was the best one of the year. And it was a great action movie, but it kind of lacked a little bit in the story department, a little bit in the characters, but overall it was a fantastic ride. I would love to watch it again. I would have loved to have seen it in the theater, actually. So, number 5, now we're almost done. Borg, Mick, and Roe. I was extremely excited for this movie because it had Shia LaBeouf. Unfortunately, my expectations got the better of me. Shia LaBeouf is hardly in the movie, but when he is in it, he does fantastic. And now, unfortunately, the main guy in the movie, he's actually the real-life son of Borg. And he did a great job, but the thing was, it focused so much on him and his sort of problems that it actually made it very predictable that he would win, spoiler alert, because I was like, whoa, this is going to be really cool. It's going to be like equal. You have this equal rivalry where you don't know who's going to win, but it was clear to me that Borg was going to win, unfortunately, but it was a great movie. It was a great movie. It's a fun time, and it's one of the better sports movies that I've ever seen. And you gotta see it just for Borg's real life son. I mean, come on. When do you get to see that? It's so authentic. Number 4 is Thoroughbreds. This movie was number 1 for a long time. It was number 1 all the way until December when I watched 3 other movies. But this movie really plays off of the strong cast. You have that was weird. Olivia Cooke, Anya Taylor-Joy, and Anton Yelchin in his last role. Anton Yelchin pulled the performance of his life in this movie. It is his best performance. Unfortunately, he's hardly in the movie, and also, unfortunately, this movie is very, very short. This movie was suspenseful and it had great writing, but I feel like it could have been extended and kind of like fleshed out a lot more, because at its core it was more of like a play. It's more of a conversation movie. The trailer, again, trailers. The trailer teased like there would be some big throwdown at the end between all the characters, and there wasn't. And I think that was the big letdown of this movie, was near the end there wasn't very much action and there wasn't very much suspense, but there was suspense the whole rest of the movie. And the ending had a fantastic twist, probably the best twist of the year. Twist, twist, twist. Number 3, I have Apostle. Apostle is actually a Netflix original movie. Yeah, that's right, Netflix original movies can be really good. This movie is the most beautiful movie of the year. Dan Stevens stars, and he proved me wrong. He was a good actor. He proved me wrong. He did an epic job in this movie. This movie was creepy. It was suspenseful. Again, suspense is a running thread in movies that I like. And it had great payoffs. It had a great ending. And I was just so surprised about this movie, about how good it was. It's probably the best Netflix original movie, and that's saying a lot. Number 2, I have The House That Jack Built. The House That Jack Built, I was looking forward to. Excuse me. I was going into it knowing what it was. It's a Lars von Trier movie. It's going to be really pretentious. It's not going to really have that good music. It might have some gross out parts, but the disappointing part was they actually cut out all the gross out parts because it was so shocking, I guess, which I don't believe it. It's only 2 minutes of footage that they cut out. But the movie itself was great. It was surprising. It was a comedy. This is a serial killer movie, but it is a straight up comedy, a dark comedy. It has one of, if not the best performances of the year by Matt Dillon. He is such an underrated actor, and it proved by him not getting nominated for this performance. But another letdown was the ending. It's one of those movies where you feel like it's all for nothing, and where you feel like there could have been some sort of a aha moment at the end, but it just, the director was going for a certain message, and he had to make this thing happen at the end in order for that message to be. And spoiler alert, only 10 seconds, I'm going to spoil it. The main character dies, he's in hell, but he has a chance to climb across and get to heaven. And he gets like almost halfway across, and then he just falls down. And I felt like the director had to do that in order to give the message that artists, like, they suffer for their work, they die for their work. Ultimately, they don't get respected, they don't get to heaven, like some sort of a pretentious, bleak message. I felt like that was the biggest letdown in the movie, but the rest of the movie was great. Number 1, Bad Times at the El Royale. I originally didn't see this movie because the critics once again lied and said this movie wasn't very good, and so I stayed clear of it until it came on Amazon, and I was really sick. It was Christmas Day, and I decided, what the heck, I'll watch Bad Times at the El Royale. This movie has a perfect cast, it has a perfect script, it has a perfect soundtrack, I guess. It has perfect cinematography. It has a perfect ending. I don't know what bad things to say about it. I wish it was longer, maybe a little longer, maybe one more character to add into the mix. But overall, this movie, wow, it is such an entertaining movie. It's not a perfect movie overall. There definitely, you can tell there's like plot holes, maybe like a couple of plot holes, and maybe just a couple of little things, but it's such a great, fun movie that you really can't fault it for just being what it is. It's a fun movie. There's not a lot of suspense, but there is a lot of fun in this movie, and there's great acting. Jeff Bridges gives a fantastic performance. There's a lot of great singing in this movie, actual singing, and you can't wait to see what happens next. And and there's a great twist too. There's a great twist in this movie, probably the second best twist of the year. And that twist alone makes this movie in the top 10. But for everything else, it was just a great movie. And it's something that I could probably watch every single year forever. So that's it. 2018 movies. This year was really kind of a mediocre year for movies. There were only like 6 or 7 that I would consider like worth watching forever. The rest of them kind of hit and miss. So thanks for watching, everybody. I really appreciate you taking 19 minutes out of the day to watch me or listen to me talk about top 10 movies of the year. I hope you check out the rest of my channel and like this video and subscribe to my channel. Goodbye, everybody.